Yeah, go to Portugal. Just ride a bike there next time.
So everybody gets a packet here, and take a pen, and just start filling that first page out for me real quick.
What if I don't know what this means? Ashley?
Try your best.
I don't like tests.
No, it's not a test.
Am I going to grade on this?
No.
Am I going to get fired for this?
No, you'll be good. I promise. Charlene, here's your packet over here.
Thank you.
I don't want to get wet in the same though.
Oh, MSDS stuff?
Always. So much fun. So I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes there to prepare that.
Oh! Can I say something out loud?
Yeah, go for it.
Is the MSDS the thing where we have to put the stuff, the warning labels?
Was it the orange?
Not exactly. I mean, it's all comprised with safety stuff.
Okay.
But it's not exactly like the warning labels, like saying, like biohazard and that sort of thing. And exactly that's why we're going to go over it today.
Oh man, this is tough.
I'm sorry.
Did you make these?
Oh yeah, there's just a few questions, nothing too crazy. The main thing is with this, the whole point is we're going to clarify exactly what you don't know on this little activity that we're doing right now. So that's the point of it. So don't feel bad if you don't know one of the areas or the answer to a certain question.
All of them? Fill out all these?
No, just the first page. You got it. The others are just for reference material for you.
Oh, if that needs them or not. Good question.
So I'm going to give you a scenario, because obviously we're assistants and hygienists in the room right now. You're polishing Mr. Jones's teeth at the conclusion of his 6-month cleaning appointment. Mr. Jones has chosen not to wear protective eyewear, and he just claims that he's just going to keep his eyes shut. No worries, he doesn't need to wear the glasses. After much resistance on his part to wearing the glasses, because you've tried to explain to him that we need to wear those glasses for protection, he insists that he's going to keep his eyes closed. Okay, so you're polishing his teeth, and of course, as Mr. Jones has his eyes open, you flick a huge chunk of this prophy paste into his eye. Okay, and now you're left with a patient who's unhappy. He's got a huge chunk of coarse polish in his eye. What are you going to do?
Take him to the eye wash station.
Okay, that's a good
Where's
start.
the eye wash station?
That's a good question.
That's another good question.
I probably should know that.
Yeah. Well, and then based on the fact that it's prophy paste, do we know anything about prophy paste? How does it react with the eye? What precautions do we need to take? The information that we would need to know would be on an MSDS. And an MSDS is a material safety data sheet. Okay, that's what it stands for, MSDS. And it explains exactly all those things that we would need to know to be able to help Mr. Jones remove that prophy paste out of his eye. It'll tell us whether or not we need to take him to an eye wash station. It'll tell us whether or not, we don't want to use a certain product, like, maybe eye wash, eye drops. We don't want to use that because that'll interact with the prophy paste. I mean, there's lots of different potentials. And so it'll specifically tell us everything we need to know about that. Couple things that we're going to be able to do at the end of this. You'll be able to identify products that require an MSDS. Obviously, on that little quiz that we did earlier, there was a bunch of products, and I'm sure a few of you didn't know exactly which ones were that's in MSDS. We'll also be able to determine what MSDS stands for, Material Safety Data Sheet. We'll also be able to find and identify an MSDS in the office for particular products. because there's definitely some products in our office that require, by the law, to have an MSDS in a binder. And this is actually our office's MSDS binder. It's seen better days, obviously. And I honestly have not even looked in it. There's virtually almost nothing in here that's probably current. So we really do need to work on updating this. And then we'll also be able to follow the correct protocol to be able to make sure that that book is updated and current. Okay, so with the MSDS, it's comprised of 8 very detailed sections. We have a ton of products in this dental office that require MSDS. Anything that has like a chemical substance, Windex, Swiffer, wet refills, anything with fluoride, whether it's even like dental floss. Dental floss sometimes has fluoride on it. You have to have an MSDS for that dental floss. Printer cartridges, ink pens, anything that might be potentially hazardous to a patient that might be in this office, we have to have a sheet that specifically tells us if there's an emergency, what do we do? And what can we use the product with? And how do we help the patient? And exactly what interaction, it had. I mean, there's definitely certain chemicals that we all know, like cleaning chemicals, that we can't mix together because they'll create, obviously, noxious gases and that sort of thing. So why would our dental materials be any different?
Yeah.
There's probably some things that have pretty bad interactions together. And so there's definitely a need for these sheets, and that's why it's mandated by legislation. Obviously, we try and keep them all together. We try to keep them in an easy location. This is actually located underneath the brother. So in the front office, there's the computer, the one computer on this side, and there's a little brother computer in the corner. This is like right underneath it, okay? I guess that's just where it's located. I don't know if we want to move it. Obviously, we're redesigning the lab. Maybe we can figure out a more central location for it. But that's where it lives right now. So typically, all of these items are placed in a binder so that if we need the information, we know where to find it, okay? So each section of these guys, for the MSDS, section 1 is going to be your manufacturer's information. It's going to be an emergency phone number in case there is an emergency. We can call them and say, dude, Mr. Jones just got this big chunk of prophy paste in his eye. We need to be able, what are your recommendations, pretty much. Obviously, we can read the MSDS sheet for the prophy paste and it'll tell us. But I mean, that's if we have additional questions. They have an emergency phone number. It also contains, the address and that sort of thing. If we ever wanted to contact the manufacturer, regarding an updated MSDS or, anything like that. Also, section 2, this is going to be more important to us. Hazardous information. Some of these products are hazardous, and we need to know exactly what hazards they pose. As well as some products you can only have in certain limits. You don't want to have a ton of something, so it specifies what limits those are. Whether it's flammable limits, you only want it within 84 degrees to 98 degrees, or whatever that may be. Section 3, these are the physical and chemical characteristics: melting point, boiling point, the odor of the material. It helps to clarify exactly what the product is. I mean, when you're just looking at this list, in case you honestly don't know, you have a bit of an idea. Section 4, this is a little bit more important: any fire hazards and explosion information. So, like I was discussing, like flammable limits, this product can burst into flames under these conditions, what flammable limits, as well as if the product goes into flames, what do we do? Is there a certain thing that we need to put on the product to extinguish the fire? Is there a certain way that works best? Obviously, if our nitrous oxide tank blows up, we're pretty much going to bail the office. That's not a good thing, and we don't even want to try and do anything. But I mean, if it's like a little localized, alcohol-based product that catches on fire, we need to know how to put that fire out. So obviously, we don't want the whole office going up in flames. Exactly. Section 5, this was what I was talking about with reactivity. So anything, the incompatibility of some products. Some products will react in the presence of other products a certain way. And so this specifically will tell us what products they're incompatible with and what happens. Health hazard, that's pretty much, you know, what we're going to be dealing with primarily. You know, if there's a route of exposure, what do we do? How do we deal with it? As well as if there's an exposure and there's certain signs and symptoms that are characteristic of an exposure of this sort of chemical. And obviously we try and treat patients with products that are safe, but it could be something that, you know, like I said, an ink pen, you know, kids are running around and stabbing themselves. I mean, it's not necessarily like us treating a patient in the office. We just have to be secure and safe on all regards. And then it also contains emergency and first aid protocol for any of those exposures. So section 7 here, obviously some of these products we have to handle safely. I mean, nitrous oxide gas, oxygen gases, we're going to treat those a little bit different than say maybe a box of propy paste that's sitting on the shelf. You know, if the propy paste gets a little too hot, I think we'll be okay. But I mean, we don't want to be putting our nitrous in the sun, you know, sunbathing with some sunning tan lotion on it. I think we'd get a little bit more risk of some potential problems that way. As well as the big one here is waste disposal. And honestly, I think we have a really big problem with how effectively we're disposing a lot of products in this office. I don't think we're doing it to 100% of the guidelines. So,
Like the sharps container.
well, sharps is good, but I mean, other waste, amalgam waste, that can't just be flushed down the drain.
Okay.
I mean, some of those things, there's other products in the office that we need to be aware of how to dispose of them.
Is it required to have a sharps container in every room?
I think
Is
every
that-
office is supposed to have a sharps container.
I don't necessarily know if it has to be in every room. I
Okay.
think there has to be one, and it has to be easily accessible to everyone. So obviously having it in sterilization makes sense,
Yeah.
because you bring your tray back and you deposit your sharps in the container.
Okay.
All sharps have to go in a sharps container, but I honestly am not 100% sure on whether or not it's mandated that it has to be in each operatory.
Okay.
I've seen offices that have them, I've seen offices that don't. That's not to say that those offices are compliant with the regulations.
Yeah.
So, very good question, though, Susan. Section 8, last one, control measures. You know, what do you have to wear to handle this product? Gloves, eye protection, you know, whatever it may be. Obviously, like I said, if we're doing propy paste, there are individualized containers. I mean, we don't necessarily need to have like gloves and everything else to be able to handle those individual packets. But obviously, we're going to be using them when we're treating our clients. Let's brainstorm some ideas. What do you think is some uses of the MSDS?
Patients want to know if there's a certain ingredient.
Yeah, I think that's come up a couple times between you and me of something, some patient was concerned about something with an allergy and they wanted to know what was in a product that we were using. So that's important. Anything else?
Like what you said, if something were to happen, you just can't sit and be like, not know what to do.
Yeah.
And because you need to know what's in that situation.
Well, we need to have a book of resources, guidelines to be able to, you know, if we don't know what to do, we consult something that obviously tells us what the appropriate protocol is. Okay, so having that resource is just like, you know, I guess having like a medical dictionary to look up a drug that you don't know. I mean, this is pretty much just our dictionary, if you will, our encyclopedia of all the products we have in our office.
Yeah.
So if a client has a question about an ingredient, we have an exposure problem, and they're not sure if they have an allergy, you know, I mean, we know exactly either who to call for information to see, oh, does this actually contain gluten, or does this not contain gluten, or we have the information right there. Anything else that we can think of? Yeah, waste disposal. I completely agree. I think I even put that on my list. Emergency exposures, client allergies, proper waste disposal, yep. Incompatibilities, I think we kind of forget about that one, when products don't mesh.
Yeah, like Byrex and the other one that we're using.
Yeah,
Mix
what the cabicide.
disinfecting.
Yeah, you
mix those
can't,
together.
it's incompatible. The two
Flammable.
disinfectants, the Byrex and the cabicide, it can actually, it's harmful in some regard. Yeah.
If it's but it's like wet together for a certain
What
time.
happens?
Yeah,
To like create a
exactly.
gas that like
It's flammable.
Yeah.
flammable.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously things like that, I mean, we were using both in disinfectants at one point in time, but you have to use them separately. You can't use them together, is what the thing is. Obviously, proper handling procedures. I mean, common sense on that one. I mean, most of us know not to just stick the nitrous over by the heater. I mean, but it can easily get misplaced or something and put over a heater vent. I mean, when we're pushing it out of the way. I mean, there is things that, you know, it can happen for sure. So why is the MSDS important? It's important because it's mandated by OSHA and WISHA, or according to Dr. Wisha. That's how he says it. It's good. They require us to have an MSDS for each available product that an MSDS is produced for that's in our office. So like I said, even that dental floss, it can be one if it has fluoride on it, because fluoride is a chemical. And under certain levels, it can cause toxicity. I mean, as we all know, people have died from fluoride poisoning. You're not going to die from dental floss, the amount of fluoride on dental floss, but it is a chemical, and therefore it has to have an MSDS.
Do you get these when the products come in? Is this included, the sheet included with them? Or
Typically it is, but not necessarily. Actually, let's have you do this. Since you asked the question, brand new box of Enamel Pro. Let's open it up. We'll see what's in it.
And I did notice when I was ordering last week, a lot of it, there was a prompt, do you want to order an SDS for this product?
I didn't even realize that was in our software. That's awesome.
Cool. You should do that.
You sure, yeah.
Was there a charge with it? I don't know. Because I wonder if there's a charge. I'd be very curious to see, because we obviously have some updating to do.
Yeah.
Because based on the type font that is in here, this says like 1970s release. You know, it doesn't say like 20th century.
Well,
You
I'm
know?
just thinking like ones that I remember.
Yeah, I see it right here. Yeah. So I mean, obviously someone's been trying to do their work, which is great.
It's not organized or
What?
taking forever to get into this.
So I mean, but no, it is a bit of a challenge, and it's not going to be like the smallest project.
This is a hard task right here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I know it's brand new. I get it.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you got in there? Okay, the free samples for stuff. That's probably not going to be as useful for us. Some, yeah, the things we love, right? The little Profi.
I call them Barbie
Barbie
chairs.
chairs.
Barbie chairs.
Barbie chairs. Oh, those are good.
Yeah,
I didn't think of
look
those.
at it.
Yeah, Barbie chairs.
Well, no, Polly Pocket I think would fit in there better. Barbie's a little too big.
Polly Pocket.
Okay, so what do you got there, Stacey?
Well, I have some German and some Spanish.
We can't be putting
and something else that I don't know what it is.
what
So,
languages.
let's see. Just instructions and directions for use.
Okay, so typically the MSDS will have this little, it's a really easy thing, it'll have this little like diamond shaped thing, which specifically says like its reactivity level and a few other health concerns in numbers. So
Aren't we supposed to have those labels on our virus container too?
Probably.
On all our
Yeah.
biohazard.
I wouldn't doubt it, yeah. So there's nothing with like a little triangle, like a diamond?
No.
Nothing in there.
Nope.
Okay, well, see, so obviously that product we would have to do further research for. Okay. This one is from Byrex specifically. This is an MSDS sheet for Byrex. And the main thing is, even though we have an MSDS sheet for Byrex, we still need to evaluate it. So if you look at your next piece in your packet there, this is our new protocol for maintaining and making sure that this binder is updated. So Stacey just opened a product. First one, does it contain an MSDS?
No.
No. Okay. So what's our next option there?
Search product on the website, MSDS.
Okay, so this is MSDS.com. It contains MSDS sheets for, it's sponsored by 3M primarily, but it contains an MSDS sheet for many products, Windex, lip balm, pretty much anything under the sun, really. And so what you do is you just type in a keyword and it'll bring up specific products. You look for the product specification. So if it's Enamel Pro, we want to make sure it's the APC formula, you know, the mint flavor, that sort of thing, and coarse. And I mean, we want to make sure everything matches. And then what we do is they actually give us a PDF file. Okay, so what you can do is you can either just save it to the desktop. The main thing is you want to get it printed out. Okay, so print it out and then we put it in our book. Obviously, our binder needs to have some sort of way to organize it. We probably should get some alphabetical dividers.
And a bigger binder.
We're gonna need a bigger binder. Yes, you got it, exactly. So, once you search the product, obviously you want to locate the exact product, download the file, print it out, put it in the book. What if we open our box of IRX and this was in there? What are we gonna do?
Just like this.
Yep, that piece is in our IRX box.
I would probably make a copy of it so it's on like a normal size paper.
Okay. So it'd probably fit in the binder better.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I didn't think of that one. Really smart. Instead of having all these little tiny random papers. Yes, I agree 100% on that one. Okay, so that means that the product that we ordered contains an MSDS. Obviously, we need to evaluate to make sure that everything is on that section, on that sheet. Is there 8 sections of information on that sheet?
Yeah.
Okay. And they all have information regarding the specifics. Okay. So then, if all the product information is present, we put it in the binder. If for some reason there's obviously some information that's lacking, we need to do further research. Obviously, this is going to be on downtime. This isn't going to be, doctor, I'm doing MSDS today. I'm not going to help with client therapy. No, that's uncalled for. He's not going to go for that. But if you have a second, especially with new ordering procedures, okay, let's role play. I'm Dr. Perry. Hey, Charlene, we need to order, I have this client, we're going to do those in sizals. We need to order 3M shade A2 Compule I composite. Okay, so what are you going to do?
Do we need to order it?
Yeah, we don't have it. Do we have the shade
I?
A2I?
No, so we'll order it.
Okay, so we got to order it. So who's doing our ordering? Jen did our ordering last week, right?
I
Okay.
did before.
Yeah,
Someone else has to do it.
well, so I come to you, we're going to order this stuff. What are you going to do?
Order?
Okay, so you're going to do the ordering then? That's
We'll
fine.
have one on Thursday.
Okay. Well, that's today, and no one's ordering,
Oh, yeah.
so yeah, we need to get on that. We'll just say. So you're gonna do the order, okay? So you do the order. Product comes in. What do you do?
Open the box, check the invoice, check what information from MSDS is present or not.
Okay.
If not, follow procedure, go to MSDS.com. If yes, make sure all the exceptions are there. Put in the binder.
Wow.
Authorize correctly.
Okay.
Make sure it's
Looking
all
pretty
organized.
awesome. So not too bad. But I mean, obviously, the easiest thing is when they come with their own MSDS.
Yeah.
If they don't, we kind of have to do a little bit more research.
I know Robin was ordering separate MSDSs because they had some patients. Patients there. They had some patients that were just wondering what was in it, and so Robin, I don't know how she did it, but
Gotcha.
but we got a box and she's like, oh yeah, they came, so I don't know if she pushed the button if they cost extra. I'm guessing they didn't, but I don't know.
Yeah, well,
So
like I
she's
said, that's a
ordering.
really good thing to look into because honestly,
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that because I
Yeah.
haven't ever done the ordering and I didn't really realize it was
Yeah.
available. So
And I
maybe,
didn't know it was important.
well, that's why we're talking about it now. So I completely agree. So main thing is with our looking up an MSDS in our book, we need to organize it. So pretty much looking up an MSDS in that book is non-existent. Good luck. So obviously we need to get on that, get some dividers in there, and start organizing the ones we do have, see what we don't have, and obviously if you find new products, save that MSDS.
And I'm sure stuff has been
Just-
updated since I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure
exactly.
your old propy paste is probably a little bit different than it is now.
Exactly. So anyone opening those new order boxes, pull out every MSDS, doesn't matter what it is. If we're
Okay.
ordering a product, pull it out. Eventually we'll be able to determine which ones we don't have, but
Yeah.
it's just a matter of building that for now. So what information that I discussed just recently was new to you?
Well, we kind of went,
The 8
Yeah.
sections, okay?
yeah, the 8 sections. Yeah, we kind of went, I don't know if you were here, we kind of already went over that we needed that. Well, at least,
Where it was out there.
Yeah,
yeah,
That was
yeah.
really it.
but we didn't
I
really.
didn't know we needed it for Windex.
Actually, everything on that list,
Circle, big circle.
you got it. Yep. You got it on that one. Any areas that are muddy, any muddy points for you guys?
Like
Things that need
self-explanatory.
clarification?
What is an MSDS? Is there just a good one specific sentence that states it, or
The
are we
MSDS
looking
is
like
just
all
what
of-
its name is, the Material Safety Data Sheet. It is a sheet of information that gives you safety information regarding that material. Material Safety Data Sheet, that's what it is. Plain and simple. And then how will we be able to use this information to treat our clients to the best of our abilities and make
Because when they
their
come
family
in,
dentistry better?
they come and ask what's in the thing. We go, oh, hold on a second. Go in. Let's we have alphabetical ordered. Hit like let's say it's prophy paste, P, prophy paste, boom, it's there. Not giving the answer because I'm not
Well,
gonna
I
be
know,
like,
so forth. Let me see if I can find
yeah, or if something
Yeah.
happens and how would you feel if your patient something happened and you're sitting there going, I don't know what to do, but if you're like, wait a minute, we have a book. And
Yeah,
we
Just
put
makes
you
it
in
got
there,
it.
better that you're
everything's
more
in there.
organized.
Yeah.
And that you know you have to.
We're
your
putting a good
patient.
image for our patients.
Yeah.
We're ensuring their safety and
And
security.
ensuring us.
Yes, exactly.
Ensuring
And we're
our
ensuring the
knowledge.
practice because it's federal. It's a regulation.
Yeah.
We will get a fine
Mhm.
for every MSDS sheet we do not have.
And that could be a
Okay,
big
so
deal.
it's a big deal.
Yeah, really big deal.
So, okay. We're gonna go treat some patients. We're gonna do good this afternoon, and eventually we're gonna get an MSDS going.
break?
Good job, guys. You're
Thank
awesome.
you.